The 0-2. Left side, Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.
I cannot believe that was only 3.5 years ago. At the time, it just looked like, well, it felt like the beginning of that dynasty that got away from the Braves in the 90s. If you remember, the Braves won the 1995 World Series, and they were actually up 2-0 on the Yankees in the 1996 World Series. That was the Andrew Jones World Series when he was 19 and set all those records. But it just felt like, yeah, this is the beginning of something, and it wasn't. And now looking back with 2020, hindsight, it feels like we've repeated history because we won this World Series you see on the screen without Acuna. So the thought process was, okay, we're going to win a couple of more. We have salary cap. But as we all know, this was probably the mountaintop and we were about to fall off. Welcome back to Brave Birds News, one of the best places for sports. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. My channel started off as a DFS channel, but I've tried to incorporate more and more news. I'll still do some DFS videos, but the majority of the time it will be news. And even though it's Brave Birds, and if you know me, you know that I have a tilt towards the Braves, Falcons, and Hawks. I'm actually going to spend probably about 70 to 80% of my videos, kind of reacting and discussing things that are happening, nationally, not just, in the state of Georgia or Georgia sports. But I will have those niche kind of videos about the Braves, Hawks, and Falcons because those are my favorite teams along with Mississippi State, but there's never anything to say about Mississippi State or Georgia State. So I'll say 80% national, 20% Georgia, the state of Georgia related news. But yeah, so I had to make a video about the Braves. I have a little short that I put out last week that kind of just gave a quick little overview. But at this point, I think we all know it's time to fire Brian Snitker. And that's what the Braves did the last time. The last time the Braves started off this terrible, and actually they pulled the trigger way before this point. It was Freddie Gonzalez. Freddie Gonzalez was terrible. The Braves started that season in a terrible funk, very similar to this. And the Braves replaced him with guess who? Brian Snitker. Yes, yes. Braves have a recent history of just getting rid of a manager when it's obvious that they're not going to make the playoffs. Because the Braves are one of those franchises, and you have these franchises in all sports, but the Braves are one of these franchises that have a fan base that at least expect them to make the playoffs. Now, we know the history of the Braves in the playoffs is, as people up here in Maryland would say, terrible. It's terrible. However, we still expect to make it to the playoffs, to lose in the first round. So the fact that it looks like we're not even going to make the playoffs this year is just totally unacceptable. I mean, you look at the attendance numbers. The Braves for the past 5+ years have been a top 5, top 10, team as far as attendance. So those people aren't going all the way out to Cobb County to the Battery to watch this team play like a bunch of bums and be managed like a bunch of bums. It has been terrible. I really think the only reason, and I hope this is the reason, I pray this is the only reason they haven't fired Snitker yet is because of the All-Star game. So the game is going to be in Atlanta. We know we had the debacle back in 2021, just a terrible debacle, and the game was moved, I don't think for good reason, but I'm not going to get political on this channel. So we didn't get the All-Star game. We didn't get it would have been a mega year, the All-Star game and the World Series in 1 year. So we got a chance. It came back around to us in 2025. And Dave Roberts, being the Dodgers manager, being a classy dude, Brian Snitker's one of the captains. So it would be coaches. So it would be kind of weird if he got fired. I understand all that, but that doesn't matter to the Braves fans. Yeah, we got Acuna. It's going to be in a home run derby. That doesn't matter. Snitker has to go. So Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? How can the Braves? I don't think they can be fixed. It's too late. Even with the 17, wild card spots they have nowadays, I just think it's too late. But I would like to get your comments. So let me know what you think. How can we fix the Braves with what? I'm looking over here, 70 games remaining. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment. And otherwise, I'll talk to you next time.